welcome or welcome back to my channel, Jamie Sage Knits. I'm Jamie, and here on this channel I talk about my knitting projects as well as some pattern inspiration at times. Today I'll be sharing my 12th podcast, which will include some reflections on Rhinebeck, which was this past weekend, and also my just kind of regularly scheduled podcast content. Today I have some exciting things to share. I have a couple of finished objects, one of which I believe I started and finished since my last podcast. I also have a few WIPs, including a couple of newly started WIPs, as well as some acquisitions, even beyond what I got at Rhinebeck. You might notice if you watched my videos before that my framing, my video quality is a little different. That is because my usual camera stopped working, so I am experimenting with a new camera and seeing how that goes. If you have any thoughts on it, let me know down below. If you have a recommendation for kind of an affordable camera that is good for filming, I would love to hear it. And I would also love to hear if you attended Rhinebeck, or if not, have you ever attended kind of a similar sheep and wool or knitting yarn festival. And with that, I will start off with some content about Rhinebeck, just to share a little bit of my reflections first. I had a really great time, although I think it was even busier than last year. It was a bit overstimulating, but I still had a really fun time with my friends. We got to do a fair amount of shopping, as well as see the animals, some of the events. We saw like the dog herding, like the sheep herding done by dogs demonstration, which was really cool and impressive. Overall, it was a fun time. One of the highlights for me was definitely getting to meet Sari Nordland, who is one of my, if not my favorite knitwear designer, and have her sign a book of patterns of hers that I have. And yeah, it was a great time. I'm really happy with everything that I bought and really looking forward to starting those projects. So with that, let's insert the clip of me and a few special guests talking about our Rhinebeck experience. Hi, we have some special footage for you today. It's, I think, my first time having guests on the channel. So this is my friend Jenny. Hi. This is my friend Anna. Hi. And we are at Rhinebeck this weekend, super exciting. Jenny and I also went to Rhinebeck together last year, and then Anna has joined our knitting group and is here this year, which is super fun. So we thought we would share a little bit about our experience in terms of some of the projects we chose to wear to Rhinebeck and what we have acquired. I think all of us did pretty well in terms of like sticking to our plan, sticking to our budget. So we're pretty pleased and excited to show what we got. And I think it's both Jenny and Anna's first time on camera. So leave a nice comment encouraging them. But, well, one of the first things I wanted to share is that since Jenny and I went last year, we decided to knit a buddy project for this year. So we both knit our Ingrid Sweaters by Petite Knit. And we wore these yesterday, so that was really fun. And then I also, yesterday, for part of the day, wore my Poetry Pullover by Sari Nordland. And that's because she was signing books, and I actually got to meet her. She signed my Softly Timeless Knits book that I already had. And she was wearing her newest design from the Poet line. So we actually took a photo, and we were kind of matching as well. So that was really cute. And I just think it's really fun to like match in a buddy knit. And Sari and I were like accidentally matching. So that was really cute. And then would you guys want to share what we're wearing today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So I'm wearing the Tulipan cardigan. I don't remember who the designer is.
I can put it.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah,
it has
it's really
cute scallop detail at the bottom. I don't know if the camera can see that.
I like it. Yeah, today's a little warmer than yesterday, so we had to kind of like adjust our plans accordingly. I'm wearing my adapted Rimu tee by Yamagara, which I've talked about in previous podcasts, and it's like a little bit warm because it has some yak content, but then obviously it's like lace and sleeveless, so I thought it would be a good appropriate option for the weather today.
I didn't follow the weather appropriateness scheme, but I'm wearing the cloud sweater by Petite Knit, and I think this is, I forgot what the contents are. I know it's Isaiah Mohair, but I don't know the other part.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. So your mohair is so soft.
Yeah.
I really want to use it for something.
It's very soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it, but it is going to be warm, so I'm probably going to roll it up later. But
yeah. I feel like you're better dressed for the morning, and then we're going to be cold, and then later
yeah.
to like switch. It's hard weather to have everything.
I might just take it off. I have a t-shirt under. So.
Nice. Well, thanks guys for sharing that. And now I think we're going to maybe like rotate and share, because each of us got around like 3 or 4 items or like groups of items. So maybe I can share this book first, just because it's like a small thing. So this is the Peter Rabbit Baby Knits, and I can put in some B-roll footage as well. So it has 20 different patterns, and Anna and I were both looking at this, and we thought it was so cute. We both have like some babies in the family, and friends are starting to have kids, so we thought this would just be like a really special collection of patterns to have. And there's this one on the front that's like these little floppy ears on a bonnet.
So
I don't know, it's just so adorable.
I love the
cute.
sweater.
Yeah.
I know, I might take pictures of it.
This is maybe like a joint purchase.
Yeah.
Joint custody of the book. Do you want to share?
Yeah,
what you
sure. I
got?
can share the books. I got 2 books. One is the Line Nordic Knits, or Line. I'm not sure how you say it. And it has 17 patterns. And there's this one on the front. I don't know, maybe you can put a photo in.
Yeah.
But it's like a floral vest that kind of caught my eye. And then there's a lot of really pretty ones in there.
Yeah. You were showing us yesterday. There's like almost all of them.
Yeah. I think there's
made.
probably 2 patterns that I wouldn't make, and the rest I would totally make. So it's like 15 patterns, so
Yeah.
it's not bad.
It's a great ratio.
And then the other one is also for the kids in my life, which is the knitted animal toys. And I
So
think these
cute.
are so cute. There's one that totally looks like my dog. So yeah, this is what I got.
I love that. And then how many? 25 different animal
Yeah.
dolls.
Yeah, there's
They're
a
so
lot.
cute. I remember there was like a
tiger's so cute.
The tiger, there's
Yeah.
a lion.
A sloth, zebra.
Oh,
I love the
zebra's so cute. I
zebra.
love the little hairs.
The
Look at the
lion.
lion. It's
That's
so
really
cute.
Oh my gosh, I love these. I was saying yesterday, their legs are so long, it's like kind of creepy.
The ram. The ram is so cute.
I love the curl horns.
Yeah,
that
the
they made.
little like.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
these would be really fun to knit as well because it would have a lot of like shaping and
Mhm.
it would just be really engaging.
Yeah, and it's small, so you can still finish it in like a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
But
This seems really fun.
And then
Yeah.
the kid can't really grow out of it as quickly.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
That's a good
exactly.
point.
And they're really easy to hold for little children because they're
Yeah,
skinny.
you were saying
Yeah.
that's why they have the long skinny
Yeah.
legs. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so that's what I got.
Nice. So you want to share some of your yarn?
Sure. So the first one is this worsted weight merino Corriedale. I got 4 of these, and I'm gonna make the field day jacket by Zeta. I'm very excited. And then I got buttons for it. I don't know. See, you can take a picture.
Yeah.
But they're like dark blue buttons.
I feel like it's gonna be so nice.
And show your other buttons because they're also
Oh,
really
yeah.
pretty, even though they're not for the project.
I don't have a project in mind, but I just really like this color combo, so I'll find some way to use
pretty.
these.
They're
The
so
light blue
pretty.
and green.
Yeah. And that yarn was like so.
Yeah, it's like kind of rustic, but it's not scratchy at all, and it's very squishy.
Yeah. That's gonna be really nice. I guess I can share some of my yarn. I'll share from the stall that we both got things from. So this was the first yarn that I bought, and I think was it called Phoenix Fiber Mill?
Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, I was looking for the name. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I think some of their tags are like quite different, but this one says Phoenix Fiber Mill, and they had this. I think all of their yarn was 100% wool, but it all felt really different. I was like, what is this wizardry? Like this seems almost like a mohair or like a brushed alpaca. They had some that felt kind of like linen. It was like very papery. And then they had like regular wool and like just so many different things. It was really interesting. But I was very drawn to this because it is fuzzy like mohair. But then when you look at it, it has like a core, which is made of wool. And then it has, instead of like silk, it's just wool. And then it has the fuzz that would be normally mohair. And it's just wool. So I was like, that's cool. And I was very attracted to this color. We were both saying like we wish they had more colors of this type of wool because it's really cool, but they only had like maybe 6 colors. And this cornflower blue is so beautiful. It's one of my favorite colors. And so I got 3 little cakes. And we were saying like we were almost like skeptical of the pricing because it was so inexpensive. It was only $5 per cake. And I need to weigh these when I get home because it doesn't say the weight on them, but I would say this is 50 grams, do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
That's a good yardage too.
Yeah, and it has 240 yards. So I got 3 of them, so that is what, 720. And I was thinking I could maybe make another Sadie top by Woozy by Celine or something else. But something kind of like flowy and feminine. I think will be so pretty, but that's probably more of like a spring project. And I also just need to, I think this will be fun against the skin. It's always a variable
Mm,
what project you can
true,
make.
yeah.
But I'm just so happy with this. I think it's such a pretty color. It was a really good deal. So that was a really exciting start to the day. $15 for these 3 cakes. That'll probably be like a whole project. Love that.
Nice.
Do you want to share your yarn?
Yeah, sure. So I got something at the same
Oh,
one, but actually they did have alpaca because this is alpaca yarn. And I got one baby alpaca, 100% baby alpaca, in this like rosy color. And I want to hold it. I'm gonna see if it works, but I want to hold it with the alpaca blend, like I don't know, like a mohair type alpaca. To warm it up a little bit because this is quite cool tone and I want to warm it up a bit. Yeah, and I got 2 skeins of this and 4 or 5 of this, I don't remember, but yeah, I want to make mittens with this, mittens and a beanie. So I'm thinking of the Vivian beanie from Sorry Norland. And for the mittens, I'm not completely sure yet, but I want to make it kind of matching. I found some that looked like I could make them match, but yeah.
yeah.
I'll
That's
see.
so cute. I didn't even see the alpaca area of that
It
stand.
was on the.
so-
It was like on the left a little bit, almost like outside of it, like
Oh,
on
really?
the edge. I saw
Okay.
it also. Actually, I saw it while I was waiting for you to purchase this. I was just standing around and I saw it. I was like, "Oh, this is so nice." These were a bit more expensive, but also not bad. I think they were $12.
Yeah,
which is
for
not
baby alpaca.
Bad for baby alpaca, I thought. So yeah, I
Yeah.
got a couple of these.
That's so beautiful. I can't wait to see your swatch of how those 2
Yeah,
go
me too.
together.
I'm very excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Do you want to share another yarn?
Sure. So these are, I'm going to make 2 hats for my nieces. One is almost 4 and one is almost 2. So I was thinking of making like matching hats, but like one will be this color combo with the teal and the Surrey alpaca. And one will be like hot pink and
I
the
love
Surrey
that.
alpaca because they like to match, but they don't need to be like the same color. So this is 100% wool from Fiber MacGyver, and then this is Surrey alpaca.
It's so beautiful. And is this one the Shiniko wool?
Yeah, Shiniko wool.
Yeah, and what you were researching it, and that's what a mix of
It was
Merino.
and
Merino.
Corriedale.
Rambouillet?
Rambouillet, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's really cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, me neither.
it's supposed to be
It's
very
soft.
sustainable made because it's in the U.S. only, so
Oh,
it's like
awesome. It's like amazing.
traceable and
That's nice. Yeah, I feel like I buy so much Scandinavian yarn. It is kind of nice to like support more local.
yeah, makes the supply chain a lot shorter.
Yeah, better for the environment.
Yeah.
Well, I can share. I also got some stuff from that same stand, and what was really cute about them as well is they have this little like camper van, right? And all of that. Oh, you got something from here too, right?
Yeah,
I'll share. We love
Yeah,
that.
afterwards.
They had
Yeah.
such a cute color selection and like just great fibers, and they gave these free stitch hold or what is it called? Like needle stoppers that are like their little camper van, which was so cute. I imagine they had these like custom made. And then they also gave a sticker and they also gave a cord, like a piece of cord for
Oh, that's
stitching
nice.
on.
I don't own any of those, so
Yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, I thought this was so cute and they just gave it, I don't know what the minimum order was, but we all got enough yarn together. So I got pretty similar to Jenny. I got 2 skeins of the Surrey silk in marine green. And this is just like a perfect Surrey silk. Like it's so soft and plushy. And this is 50 grams, 328 yards. And then I also got 2 skeins of the Shiniko Sport Weight in marine green, which is 100% Shiniko wool. And it does say on it, ground, processed, and spun in the USA. So that's nice. And so I'm planning with these to make, I think it's called the Obsidian Pullover or Obsidian Vest. It's just so cute. It's like a very open gauge with a sport weight and a lace weight held together. This is, I guess, kind of a thick lace weight, but it's the same. And it has like that little tie at the neck, and I just think it'll be so cute. And I'm really excited to make that. So this will be perfect for that project.
yeah, I can share what I got. So I got also from Fiber MacGyver. I also got the Shiniko Dupe yarn in this, what would you call this color, like rose?
Like a dusty rose.
Yeah.
Like a mauve.
Yeah. And I want to make the Monday Monday sweater from Petite Knit with this.
Oh,
And I don't want to hold it with a lace weight. I just want to hold it with just like with the DK.
yeah.
But they said this kind of knits up like a worsted almost. So
Mm.
it's like on the thicker or like heavier side. So I think this will be okay. And I got 5 skeins of this. So
Nice.
let's hope it works out.
Yeah, that'll be so pretty. I feel like it's pretty tightly spun, so I imagine it wouldn't pill too much, even if you don't
Yeah.
do anything.
She said it blooms quite a lot also
Oh.
with blocking. So I think I hopefully won't have to play yarn chicken.
Hopefully.
It would be nice.
Do you want to share any?
Sure. So I'll just try to get one of every color. That's it. So I'm making a Fair Isle sweater vest for my boyfriend, and these are the colors. So this is from Utopia, and it's their ridge fingering. It tells you all the types of sheep: Targhee, Rambouillet, Merino, and CVM Rommeldale.
Mm.
But these are fingering. This is the color combo.
I didn't even notice this yellow one. It's kind of like tweedy. It's so pretty.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
colors are interesting because they're solid, but then when you look closely, they're actually like a little variegated, which is
Yeah.
really pretty. This is like mixes of light and dark red.
Yeah.
It's
So
very
nice.
pretty.
I love that color. So
We
much.
also realized they're kind of like the Hogwarts colors.
Yeah.
Like separately.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome though. I love that. And then I guess we went to so many different stands.
Oh, yeah,
we
we
did
did.
get from
Yeah.
like similar stands. So I also got some stuff from Utopia, and I remember last year I got just one skein of their cereal alpaca, and I really loved that. And I would say this one is probably even softer, but it's also spun like into the skein less tightly. So I feel like that might be a confounding variable, but it's so soft.
Yeah, it's really soft.
So I got 2 skeins of the cereal alpaca in the color denim, which is just this like beautiful, very like luminous, dusty denim blue color. And I was definitely drawn to this. And then I was like, what do I want to do with this? Like, where should I go from here? And then I decided to get some of their worsted weight yarn, also in the color denim. So this one is 100% blue-faced Leicester. That's how you pronounce it. And it's like a light worsted weight apparently. So I got 3 skeins of this. I was like down to the wire. I was literally next in line. And then I had 2 of these skeins. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to add a third because that will help the yardage match better. And I do think I only need 2 for the project I'm planning on. But then I'm going to have some of this left over. And I was like, you know what? I can make like, I don't know, a headband or something like that. Or like a hat for a baby or something along those lines. So I think that was a good decision because or else I would have like 200 yards more of this.
Mm.
So that's a bit more even. And I feel like I had one more. Oh, the project that I'm planning to make. I think it's called the Poppy Vest. Do you guys remember? Because we were talking about it yesterday. We want to make a
Oh, this
squiggly
one. Yeah,
that
that
I
one's
think
really
it's
pretty.
maybe called the Poppy Vest, or else I'll put in what it actually is called. And so we're planning to make a buddy knit for next year. We're thinking of doing a vest, especially because of the weather difficulties that we had today. So we're like, a vest will be good. We can layer it. And I think this will look really pretty for that pattern. But my only allowed purchase for today would be if I want to get buttons to go with that. So I'll see. Maybe the same button place that we went yesterday would have some nice. I don't know if I'll get blue buttons, maybe like white buttons or like
Right.
cream.
You know, there was this
Yeah.
one that was like white and had like the blue flowers, like
Oh,
red
that
colored
would be
flowers.
pretty.
That
That
would
would
be
be
really
pretty.
pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. And do you guys have any permitted purchases for today, or are you done? Oh, you had what were you? Oh, yarn for
I
the
might
vest.
get yarn for that vest.
Yeah. That would
If
be
I
good.
find like this in like a cream color, I might take it.
They
But
had it in a white.
yeah, I want to see. Yeah, I'll see. Maybe, but nothing else.
Yeah.
So we're going to the button stall. We're
Yeah.
going back to this stall, and then
We want to see
We're
the
gonna-
alpaca.
Oh,
we
yeah.
need to see the llamas and alpaca.
we need to see
Yeah.
those. And if we can catch the parade, Llama Alpaca Parade, that would be exciting.
I would love to see maybe the working dog a bit
Oh,
better than yesterday.
Yeah,
because
there are so
yesterday
many
we couldn't
people
see
in front of
anything.
us.
Yeah. So hopefully today will be less crowded,
Yeah.
and we can see that better. And so we can be responsible with our purchases.
We will stop each other.
Yeah, we have a pact. Well, Well, thank you guys so much for being guests on the channel
Yeah.
and for sharing your purchases. It was so much fun to go to Rhinebeck with you guys. And I'm excited for
Yay.
our second round today.
Yes.
So,
Too much fun.
yeah, maybe you'll be back on the channel in the future.
All right, and we're back. Before I dive into my regular podcast content, I wanted to share what I'm wearing today. This is the square neck cami by Halim Beba, which I talked about in my last podcast. I'm just trying to squeeze a little bit of wear out of it before it gets too cold. Although I think this would be a great option for like layering. So I really enjoy this. It is all in 2x2 rib with kind of like a square neck shape and double knit edging. And this is a Knitting for Olive Merino in the color, I believe, Dusty Aqua. So I really enjoy this. And I love Knitting for Olive Merino. As you'll see, I'm using it in a few projects that I'll share today. It just feels like inert. It does not feel itchy. It's not like super soft when you feel it, but it just feels like neutral, which I'm happy with. Also, sorry if you notice me looking down. I am looking at my laptop to refer to what information I want to share. Let's start with finished objects. This one I don't think was finished in my last video. This is my Rhinebeck sweater, the Ingrid Sweater by Petite Knit. Look how beautiful. I love her. I think it is so, so pretty. I started this in early September and I finished it in probably a little over a month. I wasn't working on it solely, but I definitely was putting a lot of attention into it. And this sweater, my friend Jenny, who was in that clip, I think we talked about it in the clip, that we both decided to knit this sweater together for Rhinebeck, and it was really fun to have a little buddy knit. A couple of people noticed, which was cool. I used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Worsted in the color Haze Heather, which I absolutely love. It's a really beautiful kind of heathered purple with some more like bluish and some more pinkish tones. And I also really like the stitch definition of it. I think it looks really beautiful. It was a pleasure to knit with, very springy, but I did notice I could wear it with like a t-shirt. It was not really itchy at all, even when I got overheated. But I did notice a fair amount of wear already just from 2 days of wearing it, especially like on this area of the sleeves and then a little bit on the sides of the body. So, I mean, it's not like too crazy, but I already had to pick off some pills. There's another one. So that is not great wear for this yarn. I imagine if I held it with a mohair or something else, then it probably would like protect the yarn from pilling. But, you know, something like the Knitting for Olive Merino, like you can wear this, it's not held with anything and it will not pill. So this is a bit of like a more loosely spun yarn, so I can understand why it had that tendency to pill, but I'm not super impressed by the wear so far. But I do love the sweater. I think it's really fun, really cozy, but not like overheating. So I probably will continue to get some use out of it and see how the wear continues to unfold. I also wanted to share, I think I mentioned this definitely in my what I knit in 2024 video. I had knit this sweater previously for my husband. This is the Arctic Spring Pullover by used to be called the Petite Knitter, now Saskia & Co. So this is a colorwork yoke, and I had previously knit the body down and then done the folded over 1x1 rib, and my husband didn't really like that. He doesn't like it for the sleeves either. I think I knit it when I was less experienced in garment knitting, and so I didn't even think to like adjust it. Now I have much more confidence, so it also grew a lot during blocking. So I ripped back all of the ribbing, and I also ripped back a few inches of stockinette, and then I re-knit it in 2x2 ribbing, which he really prefers. I think it looks a lot nicer. It also looks more like masculine or more unisex. And it was really sweet. He told me specifically that he liked my bottom ribbing on the BB sweater. He didn't use that name, but he was like, your white and pink sweater. So we looked at it and just copied the ribbing. I also tried something new here where I used a single short row turn to knit the ribbing inside out in order to have the neater edge, or like the neater side of the ribbing on the outside, which I don't think it's like a huge difference, but I do think it's noticeable, and I do think that was worthwhile. And then I don't think the bind off looks really different I'm trying to show my computer, but on either side, I think it looks fine. I used the Kitchener 2x2 bind off, which personally I kind of prefer over the 2x2 like tubular bind off, where you have to like switch the stitches around and it creates kind of like a a more plump bind off edge, and this one is like quite flat and still looks really neat, which I like. So I can link below my tutorial that I used for the Kitchener 2x2 bind off. It's also a sewn bind off, similar to like Italian, but just with 2x2 ribbing. When I have it, and I finished this literally like on the drive to Rhinebeck. So when I have a chance, I'm also planning to redo the sleeves. The length of the sleeves is okay, but he also wants me to change the ribbing to match this, as well as potentially rip back to the elbow and make the sleeve less tapered. I think the taper adds like a feminine component, which is fine. But I think it would be more wearable and it would fit his style better if I did change the bottom of the sleeve. And I did obviously put a lot of work into this already, so I would like him to be able to wear it. For this, I used Drops Flora and Drops Kid Silk. So it's a bit itchy, but as long as he wears it over a long sleeve, hopefully that will be okay. And I am hoping to make him another sweater in the future that will be of like higher quality yarn, because he's more sensitive to scratchiness than I am. So we'll see if it seems worthwhile to redo the sleeves, and we'll kind of go from there. And then I do need to either wet block or at least steam block the ribbing just to help it relax a little. But for Rhinebeck, I'm glad that was finished, and because he came with me this year, so he was able to wear a knit sweater as well, which was fun. Now we're getting into, I believe, a project that I started and completed since my last video. This is kind of my take on the Cumulus Blouse by Petite Knit. I feel like this is a very Petite Knit heavy episode. I've never been a huge Petite Knit person, but it's not because I don't like her patterns, just because I kind of root for the underdog. So not that like Sari Nordland or like Veronica Lindbergh are like underdogs. They're still hugely popular knitwear designers, but I don't know, I like to diversify my knitting pattern selection. So I've tended to like veer away from her patterns as she is so popular and doing so well, and I do love her patterns. But my friend in my knitting group gave me this yarn because she found it scratchy, which I think is crazy. This is like one of the softest yarns ever, but her skin is very sensitive to like mohair, alpaca. So I was looking into options and the yarn is Lang Yarns Suri Alpaca in the color 19 Rose, although I definitely would call this like more of a lavender or lilac, not a rose. And so I was on Ravelry looking at like suggested patterns, and the Cumulus Blouse was really the only one that like stood out to me that I was interested in. And I kind of had this vision in my mind of adding color work, because that friend also gave, why is my brain not working? Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the color Dusty Violet. And so I had, spoiler alert, I had this colorwork motif in my mind and this vision of doing it at the bottom of the hem and the sleeves, which I think looks so cute. So I used the Cumulus Blouse as a base, and then I was trying to look for like a free chart that would be similar to this, but I couldn't find one, so I just bought the Rosy sweater, which I had talked about in my fall knitting plans. I don't think I'm going to knit it this year, but maybe in the future. So now at least I have the pattern, and it's just like the perfect rose and vine color work. The color work was a bit of a journey. I also adapted the sleeves to, you can't even see really because of the alpaca, but I did some decreases down to the elbow, and then I did some increases out again. You can see that a little bit. Some increases out again to the color work. That was in part because I really like a slightly flared sleeve, but also just to give more stitches in circumference for the color work motif. And then at first, before I bought the Rosy sweater, I tried I wanted to do like originally a narrower band. I was envisioning it maybe like half of this thickness of color work, but I just feel like that wouldn't give as much visual impact. I also tried doing like intarsia, which I knew it's not really feasible to do intarsia in the round. I don't really know what I was thinking. It was like this chaotic mix of like intarsia and stranded color work, and that just was not working. That was because I was kind of being too lazy to try to like catch my floats around in this other motif I was trying. But in any case, that just wasn't working. So I bought the Rosy sweater. I did the color work motif. I think it looks great, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And this project worked up so quickly because it's on 4.5 millimeter needles. The gauge is pretty big, and it was just so fun with this like fluffy soft yarn. So I'm really excited. I already started wearing it. I think I'm gonna steam block it just because of the alpaca fiber. I tend to not like to wet block it unless I want it to stretch out, because it doesn't have that same fiber memory as wool. The bottom is curling, so I'm gonna try steam blocking just that and maybe the color work. But I'm really happy with that color contrast. I think it looks so beautiful. I love the V-neck. I made it, I think, a little longer as well than the pattern recommended. I'm envisioning it as just kind of this like oversized tunic. It's really cozy. It's quite thin, but like really warm. So I've already worn it, I think, once or twice. I'm really excited to get more wear out of it. And I'm really proud of how I really personalized it. It's like some of the most adaptations that I've done, like with the sleeves and adding the color work. And actually a girl came up to me in the park when I was wearing it, and she was like, oh, is that the Rosie sweater? Which was so funny because like she obviously completely recognized the color work motif, even though the construction is quite different. So I was like, yeah, I took the color work from that sweater. So yeah, that was really funny. Fun to see other knitters in the wild. But yeah, I really, really enjoy it. Super happy with it. Oh, I forgot to mention there's like I-cord edging on the neckline and the hem and the sleeves, which if you've seen my podcast, you know I love an I-cord edge. So happy with that. And yeah, this is my baby. I'm gonna put this away. So those are my 2 finished objects and then 1 refinished object. And now I have several works in progress to share. The first one I've mentioned before. This is my second caramel sweater by Petite Knit. So Petite Knit heavy episode. I had talked about the saga of like choosing yarn for this. I knew I wanted to do knitting for olive, soft silk mohair, and merino because that's like a classic combination that I actually had never tried before. And I originally just ordered online the chocolate color mohair and then dark mousse merino. And it's a little hard to see, but it's like a lot more cool toned and it has like a very green undertone to the merino. It's like kind of marled. So I was not happy with that. And then just the universe smiled upon me, and the next morning after I was stressed about this swatch, they had a video on their Instagram comparing their different dark brown colors, and I discovered they actually have a chocolate brown to match the mohair, but in their no waste wool, which I hadn't even thought to check. I think it has like 10 colors and I just never really looked at it before, but it's 50% recycled wool and then 50% new wool. And so I was like, okay, why not give it a try? Like this chocolate color of the mohair is perfect. So if I compare these, yeah, you can definitely see like this one is more cool toned, more greenish. And then what I was going for is a lot more warm toned and red. And this just like perfectly matches my vision. I'm so happy with it. The match between the wool and the mohair is like much closer. The wool is a little bit lighter, but I'm really happy with that match. And I've just been blasting through the sweater. It's so much fun. I think I just really needed like a stockinette raglan to, I don't know, cleanse my palette after everything else that had been going on. So this is like all in the round. The neckband is a little bit annoying because it's like, I think recommended 9 inches of 2x2 rib. I don't know how long Petite Knit's neck is, but I usually decrease her ribbing amount by like at least 1 inch so that it's not like, but it will just sit nicely. And then I worked on the raglan, started working down the body, and then I decided to pause on the body and work on the sleeves. So this first sleeve I knit until I couldn't use my 16-inch circulars anymore. And I picked up the other sleeve, worked down on my 16-inch circulars, and now I am working on the armband ribbing using double pointed needles. Personally, I think I prefer, I don't know, it kind of depends on my mood, but for this I was more in a double pointed mood than magic loop or my 9-inch circulars. So yeah, happy with this. I probably have maybe like 2 inches done. It calls for 6 inches of ribbing. So I'm going to continue working down this. And I'm just so excited for this sweater. I think it's going to be such a staple in my wardrobe. And I'm really, really happy with how it's looking. And I'm excited to block it as well. I think it'll get even softer and just will be so lovely. Oh, you can see the mohair here. Yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say about this. It's just, I knew it was going to be a great experience. I had already knit a red version of this, I think last year, and I just love the caramel sweater. I think it's very classic with like the 2x2 ribbing, raglan. I'm thinking of making this a split hem. That's also why I paused on the body, but I'll have to think about it because I love the red version. I'm just thinking like, should I make it a little different? I don't know. I have a little bit of time to decide. The sizing of this sweater ranges from 37.5 to 53 inches. So not the most ideal range. I don't know if she recommends an ease. If so, I feel like it was like 4 to 6 inches. So just a little bit oversized. So yeah, I really love this and I am very excited. I'm glad that I trusted my gut and went with the chocolate, the matching chocolate color. It just looks so beautiful. All right, next, some smaller works in progress. That is like a big one that I've been knitting away on, but I also have been chipping away at the Euterpe Socks by Sari Nordland. So this is a WIP that I had paused. I knit one sock last winter. I knit up to like here, and then I've continued knitting up the foot of the sock. So it's this pretty complex little cables, and it's knit on I think 2.5 millimeter needles. Yeah, 2.5. I'm using Malabrigo Ultimate Sock in the color Pearl, and I think that's really pretty. I like it a lot, and I'm making these for my husband. I'm making the second size, and currently the back is just stockinette. Once you get past the heel turn, there's like different different cable motifs for the front and back of the calf. And I really like that it's toe up. I wish there were more toe up socks. Like, I don't know why there aren't. I love that you can like exactly tailor the length of the calf, and also that it's really easy to like split the ball of yarn in half, if that makes sense, because you're knitting upwards. So you can make it like a little taller or a little shorter depending on your needs. But yeah, so I am just chipping away at this. It's not like my absolute favorite thing to work on because it's just so small and like tight. But I'm trying to do like one cable motif every few days or something like that. And hopefully this will be done in, I don't know, a month or two. So it's not like my main project. I'm not a huge sock person, but it's kind of fun. And I might work on some vanilla socks in the future and see if I enjoy that more. All right, next up we have a couple of things that I talked about in my fall knitting plans. So this first one is the very beginning of the Dandelion Honey Cardigan by Anne Hansen. So I got this yarn from Bare Naked Wools using a gift card my friends got me for my birthday. The yarn is Kent Lace in the color Beach Glass, and I think it's so beautiful. It's very fine. It's not very tightly spun, so it can get even thinner, but it's like has a little bounce to it. And this is 60% Merino, 40% Romney with 750 yards or 685 meters per 4 ounces or 115 gram skein. So it's a little more than the usual 100 gram skein. The pattern construction is, shall we say, interesting. I think it's maybe more like traditional, less modern. The sleeves are knit cuff up and paused at the underarm, and then the body is knit bottom up, paused at the underarm, and then they are joined together, and the yoke is knit, it's a cardigan, so like back and forth flat up to the neckline, and it's, I think, knit with like a raglan seam. So honestly, I'm not sure why it's knit in that way rather than just making it top down, aside from the fact that that would flip the lace motif upside down, but like maybe it'd be worth it to have such like what seems to me like a much less annoying construction. But I don't know, I thought it would be an interesting challenge and just something interesting to try. I do think this will be like a labor of love, but I'll hopefully be very proud of the final product. So I started with one of the sleeves, and I did the cuff 1x1 ribbing on 3.5 millimeter needles as the pattern suggests, and then I switched to 4 millimeter needles for the lace. So I've almost finished the first lace motif, and it didn't specify a cast on method, so I used the Italian cast on since I think that looks nice for 1x1 ribbing. And I currently am using my like tiny circulars, the 4 millimeters, but I'm really looking forward to being able to switch to my 16-inch ones just because I think it'll be a lot more comfortable, and it's just very, very tedious so far. Also, if I get too fed up with the sleeve, I think I can just switch to working on the body because they're worked separately. Working on that bottom up and having just a bit of a break in like longer needles. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna chip away at this and we'll see what happens. But I think it's gonna be such a beautiful light layer, not as like cozy and warm as some of my other knitwear. So yeah, I think that is a very interesting project, and I'm looking forward to working on it more over time, but I don't want to make myself fed up with it by focusing on it too much. I already got a little bit fed up with that one, and I was like, I want lace, but I want lace that is like fun to knit. Also, the pattern for that one is pretty confusing. Like the chart doesn't include the increases, so you have to like figure it out yourself basically. So I was like, let me turn to my tried and true favorite, Sari Nordland, because she makes such beautiful lace and cable patterns, but they're so easy to read, so intuitive. And I already had the Champagne Pullover on my fall knitting plan, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself a treat and start that. And in, I don't know, like 3 hours yesterday, I was already able to knit up this whole back panel. I think I have 2 more rows of the back panel, whereas I'm pretty sure this took me like, I don't know, way more hours, way more. So I am pleased with this decision. So I forget what this construction is called. It might be the European shoulder, where it's like this is the back panel and then the shoulders will be picked up from these diagonals and will like come over to the front, which I think is a really beautiful and elegant construction. I think it's the same one that was used for my Ingrid sweater. So I'm really enjoying this so far. That's the wrong side. This is the right side. It is so pretty. It has this cable motif in the middle, and then there's more cable motifs originating here, but then there's also these lace panels in between. It looks so complicated, but the pattern is really easy to follow. It's just charted, but the increases are included in the chart, and I'm just absolutely loving it. I'm using the same combination of knitting for olive merino and soft silk mohair. This is not an exact match, but I'm really happy with it. I did that on purpose. This is the color Marzipan, which is a little bit more of like a beigey cool tone, and then this is the mohair in cloud, which is a little bit more like peachy or yellowy, as you can see. So it's evening out to this very like neutral cream, which I'm very happy with, and it just feels so plushy and gorgeous. The bust for this pattern ranges from 37.5 to 69 inches with 8 inches of positive ease recommended, so a bit oversized. And the recommended needles are 3.5 millimeters, but I think Sari is a pretty loose knitter, so I'm using 4 millimeter needles, and I actually haven't checked if I'm meeting gauge, but the reason I did that is because the gauge she calls for in stockinette is a 20 by 28, and my caramel sweater, which I showed, is the same yarn combo on 4 millimeter needles, and the gauge is like 21 by 28, so it's very close. I think that should be fine, especially since I'm planning to pin it during blocking to help the lacing cables relax. So even if it's not exactly right, I can just kind of pin it to the correct measurements. And yeah, I'm really excited to continue working away at this. The back panel is almost done, and then I will start on the shoulder and the front pieces and then join it all together. So yeah, I'm really loving that. And that is everything. I don't have any projects like currently planned aside from more distant plans with the yarn I bought at Rhinebeck and right before, but I literally just cast on the champagne pullover yesterday, so I think I need to focus on what I have for the moment. Obviously, I already shared my Rhinebeck purchases in that earlier clip with my friends, but I got on Sunday, I got a few buttons, which I think I mentioned in that video was like the only thing I was allowing myself to get. So I got these really cute little heart buttons, most likely for the poppy vest. So it's not like a perfect match, but I think that goes really cutely together. And this was $25 for 7 buttons, which is the number called for in the pattern. And these are, I believe, handmade or handcrafted artisan buttons from Hall and Hoof Farm. So I was really happy with that. And then these ones, I'm not sure if they're handmade or if they're like vintage reclaimed buttons just because of the way they look. But these ones I think are really, really cute. They're like this cream, how do I make them focus? This cream background with light pink and lilac little swirls. And this was like $17 for 4 buttons. I'm planning to use those with this Neighborhood Fiber Co. rustic fingering in the color Guilford to make, look how cute that is, to make the Scarlet cardigan by Petite Knit. So I have 4 skeins of this, and it's meant to be done with a DK, but I just feel like the gauge would be so dense. I want it to be a more light drapey cardigan, so I'm planning to use this fingering weight, and I've done a little bit of gauge math, and I'm going to knit it on, I think, 3.5 millimeter needles. So I'm really excited for that to just be like a light cardigan that will be like a nice intermediate layer. And then I also bought 2 skeins of the same yarn in the color Engine Company number 7, which is this gorgeous vibrant red, and I'm planning to make a slip over with this. And I already showed all my yarn from Rhinebeck, and it was actually so funny. I don't know why I thought to like check out that. I was looking at Neighborhood Fiber Co. beforehand because I was planning to visit their stand at Rhinebeck, and I saw that a yarn store in Texas was having like a 40% off sale. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to buy it from there and I'll see if I want something else from their stand. And then they didn't have this base at Rhinebeck, which is like my favorite base. So I don't know, it worked out very perfectly. I got to meet the founder at Rhinebeck, which was exciting, and I told her this whole saga, and she's like, yeah, we just don't have quite enough dyed in that base yet to have a display here, but it's still going to be available moving forward, which is good because it's like one of my favorite yarns ever. It is so soft. It's just 100% non-superwash organic merino, 475 yards in 4 ounces. So I absolutely love this, and I'm really excited to work these up as well as all the projects from Rhinebeck. So yeah, that is everything. I guess there's actually a lot going on today. So I hope you enjoy this video, and feel free to subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you'd like to see my future updates as well as pattern inspiration. And yeah, I'll sign off there. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.